Family's younger dog, Major, was surprised by an unfamiliar person and reacted in a way that resulted in a minor injury to the individual.
Well, now documents released in a response to a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit by Judicial Watch state that Secret Service leaders actually tried to keep hush about the details of this attack, even rejecting an agent's excessively detailed account to avoid, well, upsetting the first family. This was after the dog bit agents for 8 days in a row. John?
All right, let's welcome on our panel to talk about this waste and abuse, in air quotes. With us now, author and media expert Ashley St. Clair. Also back with us from the Washington Free Beacon, Matthew Foldy. Ashley, Matthew, great to have you both with us. You know, when we were conceptualizing this segment this morning, Ashley, we were calling this waste, fraud, and abuse. I couldn't find any actual fraud here, but think about the amount of time and the money wasted on this investigation into these Customs and Border Protection officers. We all saw the video. We know they were doing their job. Anyone who has any experience with horses know that those were not whips, and they were just trying to enforce the law. But yet we have to go through this rigmarole, and we still have not cleared these gentlemen clearly either.
Absolutely, John. And this is the same administration that spent $6 trillion for us to stay at home. This is the administration of waste and abuse wholeheartedly, and they try to blame everything on everybody else, including inflation, which is now Russia's problem, which has nothing to do with Russia. Obviously, we're going to see a little bit of an increase in inflation due to those international issues, but this is absolutely a domestic incompetence issue.
You know, Matthew, when it comes to this story with Major Biden, the dog, Judicial Watch actually doing a lot of legwork here and finding these documents through open record requests, and good for them. And this might not seem like a major story, but the point here is that if they're willing to lie about small things like the first pet, you know, the lies grow from there. And I think this is a perfect example of how disingenuous and how stupid this White House press office thinks we are.
Well, the fraud is the waste and abuse that went into this sham investigation that was sparked by a viral fake news tweet. So you're right, there is no fraud, but the fact that we have to get a 500-page report to understand that horse reins are not whips shows what the administration's priorities are. Meanwhile, it's completely failing on the border with the actual problems that we're facing, right? The administration would rather investigate Border Patrol than actually secure the border and deal with all of the consequences that come from a wide open border, right? Greg Abbott is now busing illegal immigrants to the Capitol because this is an ongoing problem that border czar Kamala Harris has somehow not solved yet.
Yeah, where's my 500-page report, Ashley, on the danger or everything all the protection we've received from Title 42? I'd like to see a 500-page report on that.
Or even a 500-page report on the children that are being drugged and dragged across the border that they don't seem to have any care in the world about, or the amount of fentanyl that's coming across our border and killing people at an astronomical rate in this country. Where's the 500-page report on that?
I think we just created a fun parlor game here, 500-page reports. Matthew, I know you're working on, it might not be 500 pages yet, but tell us about your updates when it comes to our absentee Democrats who aren't showing up for work still.
Look, this is a nationwide scandal. We know that Democrats are closed in D.C. and closed in the districts. Their taxpayer-funded offices around the country are closed. And it's somehow taken me and the Free Beacon to point out that the offices that we're paying for across the country are closed. The government has been run via Zoom. So it's no wonder that you have Afghanistan, Ukraine, Russia, Iran, all of these massive problems. Well, the government is just saying, all right, guys, you know, Afghanistan's about to fall. Can we hop on a 10-minute Zoom where we're going to discuss classified information on an app that has problematic ties to the Chinese Communist Party? So it's no wonder that the Democrats' agenda has been stalled because they're just doing it all in their PJs. And after I've reported on these office closures, we've seen some of the Democrats start actually reopening their offices because they realize that we've caught them not working. And now they're trying to pretend that because their offices are now open, that they were actually open when I walked by them. It's crazy gaslighting, and local media around the country should have been the ones leading the charge here to point out, oh, hey, you know, Cindy Axne's office in Des Moines is closed. The Des Moines Register is right around the corner. Why did they never point out, oh, hey, the only Democrat elected on a federal level in Iowa is not actually open to constituents?
Her office is closed, but she was riding around with the president this week. And of course, the bird pooping incident, which actually may not be poop after all, is going to be part of our meme team segment coming up. But one more thing I wanted to talk to you both about real quickly before we part ways for a second here is a new poll from Rasmussen. It's a hypothetical 2024 matchup between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis and some guy named Either. We don't have a picture for him. No, I'm just kidding, of course. But does this sound right to you? Ashley, first to you and then to you, Matthew. Do these numbers make sense?
I've heard a lot on both sides when I talk to the everyday voter. I think there's people who would love a Trump presidency again. There's also people who would be stoked on having Ron DeSantis in office. So I think it might be a little more even than people might think. But I think either way, both Trump and DeSantis are going to have a concrete roadmap on how to address some of these issues like immigration and big tech that a lot of the base is yearning for.
I can just project forward, Matthew, to the Iowa caucuses in 2024. It's going to be DeSantis versus Trump, and they're going to settle it with a hat toss. Who can be the most accurate tossing the hats to a target? I don't know.
Or neither will somehow win.
Oh, that's an interesting scenario. How do you see that possible?
I mean, look, the reality is 2024 is run through 2022, and the bigger a win DeSantis has in Florida, I think the better his case. He's leading the way for conservatives on a lot of issues important to voters. So the more he can do, and if he can win Florida by pushing close to double digits, I think he has a strong case sort of as a presidential candidate to make that I can win in states in huge margins that will lead us forward. But I think you're right. Look, neither is also popular. So,
neither.
Either of these gentlemen could be the nominee, but it's probably anyone's game.
It is, of course. We're so far out, it's anyone's game. What I think is really interesting about this is that Republicans actually have two very competitive guys who could win, and you look down the Democratic roll of who's next, and you're like, no, still getting down to the end of the list. It's not clear.
Pushing 80% for Democrats.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. Great to see you both, and of course, you're coming back in a few minutes. We're going to do some memes, a shorter meme team, because we got a shorter show today, but we'll see you in a sec.
That's right, John. Bianca, good to be with you. Democratic Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona says the extension of the federal transportation mask mandate is proof that the Biden administration needs to delay its plan to lift Title 42. Sinema, Republican Senator James Lankford, and about a dozen other bipartisan lawmakers have introduced legislation that would require the administration to submit a comprehensive plan to lawmakers before of course, ending Title 42, and not until at least 60 days after it ends the COVID-19 national emergency declaration. Sinema tweeting this: the administration's extension of the public health emergency authorities proves the need to delay lifting Title 42. We're pushing for transparency and accountability to secure the border and ensure the health and safety of Arizona communities and migrants. Sinema has been one of the few Democrats to point out the conflict in extending that mask mandate but ending Title 42. But Republicans, as you noted, John, have been very vocal on this. Republican Senator John Thune tweeting, "This is absurd and incredibly out of touch. The Biden administration is extending the mask mandate for Americans on planes, but it's planning to end Title 42 pandemic restrictions at the border. You can't have it both ways." Well, Republican Congressman Thomas Massie, he's taking it a step further, again, joining a lawsuit with various lawmakers suing the CDC for what he says is its illegal mandate for masks on commercial airlines. In a statement, he said the Center for Disease Control and Prevention does not have the legal authority to force people traveling on commercial airlines to wear masks. Congress never passed a law requiring masks on commercial flights. This lawsuit targets the faceless bureaucrats who are behind the CDC's unscientific regulation so that this illegal mask mandate can be brought to a permanent end. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has voiced his concerns about this as well. He has been busing migrants from the Texas border to Washington, D.C. here this week, and he expects and anticipates that the number of crossings could as much as triple when Title 42 ends next month.
Kilmeny Ducart live for us at the White House. Thanks, Kilmeny. Folks at Twitter are boxing out Elon Musk. They've just announced that its board of directors has unanimously adopted a limited duration shareholders' rights plan following Musk's bid to buy 100% of the social media site. The plan is meant to enable all shareholders to realize the full value of their investment in Twitter and to keep one person or group really just the one person, from gaining control of the site through an open market accumulation. Their plan expires on April 14th, 2023. So they got it locked up throughout the midterms here. Smells a little fishy if you ask me. Well, it's great to have everyone back with us. Also, we have an abbreviated meme team this week with Troopathon coming up at 1 p.m. We really need your help, and if you can donate, you can send a care package to one of our troop members now stationed in Poland or in Eastern Europe as this Ukraine situation continues to be on the front pages. But we also have some memes to share with you this week, and we would start where else? Menlo, Iowa. Was it bird poop or not? Take a closer look here. The White House says no, a bird did not poop on the president this week. White House Communications Director Kate Bedingfield tweeted, if you guys knew your way around a corn silo at all, you'd know it was corn. Corn pop, perhaps. Conservative site Red State actually backed that up, and the White House is reporting. It says, as it turns out, the White House may have finally told the truth about something, Red State reported. Here's what Joe Biden was standing next to, and corn was flying around. They shared video from the Iowa starting line here. That's what you're looking at. It's a local political blog. Biden, again, standing next to a massive pile of corn, so maybe the White House wasn't lying after all. We stand corrected. We thought it looked like poop. And maybe the White House should have kept with that story because, as you know, if you get pooped on, it's good luck. President Biden needs all the luck he can get. And it shouldn't stop us from some good memes either. This one from Dr. Ricardo Harambe. Yes, a hero flies among us. The Presidential Medal of Freedom for that bird. Of course, it wasn't a bird, it was corn, but still a great meme. Our next big story, of course, is Elon Musk's pursuit of Twitter. And this is everyone on Twitter having a good time thinking about, hey, we could see some changes, maybe some free speech. Elon's up in the front, and there are the liberals there in the middle, arms crossed. They do not like it. One thing you guys could help me understand is why Elon Musk would pay so much for Twitter. That's a lot of money, right? $40 billion. This is my favorite meme of the week, actually. It's a Jerry Lawler laughing meme. Oh, well, they didn't actually use the video. If we could press play, you'd see Jerry Lawler laughing. But Elon Musk offers to buy Twitter for $41 billion. Me, who got it for free on the App Store, laughing at Elon Musk. Yeah, I got Twitter for free. Thanks for Dre Fraser for that one. All right, let's welcome in our meme team panelists this week. With us, Ashley St. Clair. She's an author and media expert, also from the Washington Free Beacon. Matthew Foley's back with us as well. Ashley, first time on Meme Team. Great to have you with us, and you brought some good memes. Tell us what you got.
Well, thank you. And I think this is a perfect depiction of everyone freaking out over Elon Musk trying to buy Twitter. This came from Grand Old Memes, I believe. But we didn't have this visceral reaction right when Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post. This is solely a reaction to Elon promising to bring back free speech to Twitter. And that's what this is all about.
We didn't even have that reaction when the Washington Post, like so many other legacy media outlets, suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story or so many other stories or pumped the Russian collusion narrative. We all stayed calm, and maybe we should freak out. And real quick, actually, before we get to Matthew, what do you think about this decision by the board of directors to freeze Elon Musk out and make sure that they retain control of the platform until after the midterms?
I think I would say they're showing their true colors, but we already knew this was the case. We knew that they hated free speech, and someone who's willing to pay $43 billion, even for a billionaire, that is not a small chunk of change, to preserve free speech. It really shows you how much they want to silence people.
Yeah, Matthew, Twitter's stock is down almost a little over 1.5 points right now, so maybe the market feels like Elon Musk is not going to buy it. Let's get to your meme, and then I'll get your reaction to the board of directors freezing him out. I like this. It's a classic political cartoon. What do we got here?
Well, Elon Musk is being criticized by people who have not built a, space rocket to Mars, have not built electric cars. And the reality is he did tell all of us the truth, which we all know, which is that Twitter is not a place for free speech. If you're conservative, your account will be shut down for no reason with no recourse. Whereas if you're liberal, you can basically do whatever you want, right? Trump suspended from Twitter, Iran's Ayatollah daily saying that we should murder all Jews in Israel. So it's not a place for free speech. Elon told us this, and the SEC is investigating him now. We have the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia saying that we're going to push back on your attempt to buy out Twitter. So Elon Musk is once again making a lot of enemies, and I'm not sure what drives their hatred of him in this instance, but we'll see where we end up if Twitter becomes a private company again.
Yeah, guy's built a car company. He's sent people to space before, but yeah, he's dangerous. So very dangerous. Oh, great stuff. Great to see you guys as well. Matthew, have a great Passover. Ashley,
thank you.
With a name like Sinclair, I'm guessing you're leaning towards Easter, but we don't judge. We don't guess here.
I do a little bit of both. My dad's not Jewish, but my mom is, so we got both going on.
All right, excellent. Excellent.
Everyone.
Great to see you guys. Take care.
That's the best when you can do Passover and Easter. Come on.
I know. Good Passover Seder.
That was my favorite meme, though, Ashley's meme of the Twitter and the face. And I'm not happy about this move with Elon. I really want him to pull it off, John.
We'll be there on Twitter in the trenches, Bianca.
Media's reaction to all of this. We've been sorting some of these tweets out. Now, CBS journalist David Levitt is saying if Elon Musk successfully purchases Twitter, it would result in World War III and the destruction of our planet.
Okay,
really? I mean, I don't know if that's a great reference in light of what's happening around the world. Washington Post columnist Max Boot says, I am frightened by the impact on society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter. He seems to believe that on social media, anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content moderation, not less. And also, folks, take a listen to what Axios co-founder Mike Allen is saying on MSNBC just this morning.
So much of it comes back to Twitter kicking Trump off. Like, that was the seminal moment for some of them. And they'll also mention Hunter Biden. They'll mention the lab leak theory. But conservatives have all kinds of grievances against tech in general, Twitter in particular, and they see Elon Musk as a solution.
Oh, they're just grievances.
Since when are reporters not supporting free speech and open discourse too? This is so disturbing.
Well, ever since they stopped liking what's some of us are saying. But let's welcome in the host of Stinchfield here on Newsmax TV. I know the left doesn't like a lot of what Grant has to say, but we like Grant a lot, and we're happy to have him with us. Grant, great to see you.
Hey, Grant.
It's great to see you, too. I mean, my engagements on Twitter used to be through the roof. It was nothing for me to get 1,000 likes in just minutes, and now I push just a few dozen. I mean, I'm completely convinced that I'm shadow banned on there. And I think the left, they're even not so concerned about them being canceled. They're more concerned about not having the ability to censor people like me, conservatives, people like you guys, people like organizations like Newsmax. That's what they're most concerned about, is that they're not going to be able to censor us.
Yeah, and it's so true. You know people who are being shadow banned, and they say it. You can't find their videos. If you find their videos, there's always a glitch in them. But look at this, Grant. Here it is in plain sight. 2013, Business Insider applauding Jeff Bezos' takeover of the Washington Post here. You can read it yourself. But now their reaction a few years later about Elon Musk, his attempt to buy Twitter represents a chilling new threat. Billionaire trolls taking over social media. What is the difference between Bezos and Musk?
We know, of course.
Right.
Well, other than politics, they're both rich guys, right? And their politics, though, is everything. And so you just pointed out what we try to point out on my program nightly is left-wing hypocrisy. And the difference between the right and the left, they hate us. They despise us. And I want everyone out there to know, if they could throw us all in a dungeon, if they could take the leaders of Newsmax and put them in a dungeon, they would do that in a heartbeat. And we need to wake up to that fact. I promise you, Elon Musk now is going to face a demonic level of vitriol coming at him. The government's deep state mafia, the FBI, the SEC, the IRS, he's a target-rich environment, Elon Musk. He's a billionaire. He's got a lot of companies. They will be coming for him. I've already heard rumblings. The SEC is already starting an investigation.
And the DOJ, too. There's some whispers about that as well. Let's leave that aside for a second, Grant, because I also got to talk to you about President Biden's very bad week, another one. It started out with this ridiculous display of showmanship in the White House Rose Garden, or the East Lawn, I think this was, talking about ghost guns. And from ghost guns, we go to the president shaking hands with a ghost on stage. Did you see this clip as well? Here he is finishing his speech. He walks off. There's nobody there. There goes the hand out for a shake. And then he's lost, Grant. And, I don't take pleasure in doing this type of stuff, but this is not sustainable. This can't continue.
No. John, what's really frightening about it is his team now has left him hung out to dry. You know, it used to be there'd be somebody right behind him, someone to show him off the stage where to go. Now they're leaving him out there to just fumble around and bumble around on his own. I actually believe that what we are starting to witness now, you're seeing some of the coverage of Hunter Biden show up now on the mainstream media. You're seeing other media outlets call Joe Biden out on Putin's price hike. Even MSNBC, Washington Post saying, hey, not so fast, Joe Biden. This is all part of what I believe is Operation Oust Biden. They know, just as you said, John, he is unsustainable. There is no way they win an election with him at the helm. Operation Oust Biden is underway. Whether Kamala is a temporary fit, which is just as bad, the question is, does it really matter? We know neither one of them are calling the shots. And I still think Barack Obama, Susan Rice, and heck, throw George Soros in there are all really in charge of this White House.
You also hear more GOP House members talking about impeachment like it's a possibility here. And, of course, the question is what comes next after that. But, you know, one thing at a time, one step at a time.
But so like Washington,
it can only happen if we take back the House and Senate.
True.
Right. So a part of the segment we're calling This Week in WTF, Grant, we're talking about John Hinckley. Of course, he's the man who attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan 4 decades ago. And now, what's he up to, folks? Well, he's playing a sold-out show in Brooklyn this summer. Sold out. You know, here's Hinckley announcing on Twitter his July 8th concert is sold out. He's apparently a singer, a guitarist now who performs covers and even some of his original work. He has more than 26,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I guess he's out there living his best life, Grant. I mean, really, this is what's happening in our country.
You know, it is amazing a guy like this can have a concert. People are actually going to pay to see this guy. Who's paying to go see him? But it's like, who's the 30% that says Joe Biden's doing a good job? I think I'm more shocked that on Newsmax we got a segment called WTF. I mean, I never thought I'd be able to slip something like that by.
It's a daytime program, and I don't know what you're getting at here, Grant, but the F definitely means something family friendly.
We're not in the dungeon yet.
Oh, it does? Okay.
It's got a lot of meaning. It's like, yes, it's what the freak is going on here?
Well,
shut the front door, Grant. No, but you hit on it perfectly well. John Hinckley, we all know he's missing something up top. Not all his faculties are there. But who's the concert promoter doing this, and who are the people actually buying the tickets? I mean, this is like a freak show. Going to see a would-be assassin, and I'll save everyone at home the time. If you haven't seen his music, you don't need to. It is awful.
Not missing anything.
Awful, awful, awful. But yet here we are, Grant. I'm sure there's some very talented musicians somewhere.
Did you listen to some of his music for us?
In the honest pursuit of research, Grant, and the truth, I did. I actually did a while back, and I wish I hadn't. And I'm glad I did, so I can tell everyone at home they don't have to.
Jodie Foster wants no part of this. She barely talked about it when it happened, and she's like, I'm done.
Yeah, but this is where we, anything can sell. There's like no floor anymore for the depths to which people are willing to go to make a buck. I don't know what's going on with this. So anyway, Grant, always great to see you. What do you got coming up at 8 p.m. tonight, if you know yet?
Well, we're going to get into the Elon Musk stuff, and really we're going to dive in deep about just the heat that this man is going to take I hope he's the freedom fighter that he says he is. I don't trust anybody until I see it, from my own eyes. But if he is the freedom fighter that he says he is, this is a very important battle for this country right now.
Yeah, I think the jury's still out, and we'll be watching. Grant, see you tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks.
All right, let's talk about Ukraine now. New missile attacks have been launched by Russia against Kyiv, Mariupol, and other major cities after one of its main warships sank in the Black Sea. But there are conflicting claims about that missile cruiser, Moskova. Ukraine says it hit the vessel with missiles, but Russia says a fire broke out on board.
And also today, the Ukrainian refugee total has now hit more than 5 million. This as the first flight of the new $800 million of U.S. aid is expected to arrive in the region within the next 24 hours. And Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky also warning this Friday that the world should be prepared for the possibility that Russia turns to nuclear weapons. This threat comes, as you probably have heard, Sweden and Finland continue to pursue their interest to join NATO, John.
Well, joining us live in Ukraine with the latest on all this is senior correspondent John Huddy. Hey, John.
Yeah, I mean, an ominous warning from President Zelensky. However, earlier today, the spokesperson for the Ukrainian Defense Ministry said there's no intelligence information right now to suggest that Russia plans to use a tactical nuclear weapon. But obviously, there's been heated and provocative rhetoric coming from the Kremlin about this, so it is a concern. Also a concern, increased attacks and possible attacks here on Kyiv, the capital city. We understand overnight there were several explosions in the region. What we're hearing right now, and we're still waiting for more confirmation though, is that there were several possible missile strikes, one of which hit a machine-making plant just south of the city, about 40 minutes outside the central part of the city where I'm standing. It was being used for military purposes. Again, we're waiting for official confirmation from Ukrainian officials about that, but we have been hearing certainly more air sirens over the last 48 hours. And this could be also in retaliation for the sinking of the Moskva, which was the Russian flagship of its Black Sea contingent. There's still conflicting information about how the ship was damaged. Russia says there was an ammunition explosion on board. We're hearing that possibly Ukraine's military fired 2 anti-ship missiles that hit it. Whatever the case, it's certainly not only a symbolic but strategic victory, and it could be the catalyst for even more intense bombing by Russia. Back to you.
John Huddy, live in Kyiv. Thank you, John.
All right. Also, China says it's conducting military drills today in response to U.S. lawmakers visiting Taiwan. The bipartisan group, which includes Senators Lindsey Graham and Bob Menendez, met with Taiwan's president and the defense minister. The trip, previously condemned by China, comes amid fears that Beijing may move on Taiwan and invade. Well, coming up, Pope Francis gives his Good Friday message at St. Peter's Basilica. We'll check in with Alex Salvi, who is standing by live in Rome.
Also, new filings from John Durham expressing more doubt about the Trump-Russia collusion narrative. George Papadopoulos is here live with us to break it all down. Stay with us. We'll be